Yes.
Yes. And we'll have a copy of this presentation, and we will email you an e-survey. So let me start by introducing my colleagues, Bob Graham, who you'll hear from first, from Wavefront, and thank you, Bob, for setting this up. I appreciate that. And my partner, Glenn Myers. Been partners for a long time, and we've all known each other and done business together for many years. You're going to see some exciting stuff, I think, especially focused on your sector and how to create some value. So, Bob, do you want to kick it off then?
I will do that.
Thanks.
Yep. Good. Welcome, Tom and Mino, I think. I'm the president of Wavepoint M&A. And can everybody hear me? Glenn?
Yes.
Yep, okay. Just by way of introduction, you got this invitation through a Wavepoint from our Wavepoint database, which is a worldwide database. We have clients throughout the world. I have 4 in Australia as we speak, a bunch in the U.S. We're Canadian, so I have a few in Canada, 1 in the U.K. So we're a full-service M&A technology-only company. As a result, we're constantly negotiating on both our buy-side, our sell-side engagements with buyers, with sellers. It's probably the most common question that comes up: what's my company worth? What do I need to do to improve my company? It's for selling. My buy-side clients, of course, are looking at companies and saying, what are the metrics of this company that would allow me to pay this versus pay this, et cetera, et cetera. So because we do that, we teamed up with Preston Willis Group here and Glenn and Bob. And the reason for that is so that you can have an opportunity, if you wish, to take advantage of a service that, in effect, will take you through a bunch of metrics, benchmark you with your sector, which is obviously software technology, and then prepare you for an exit in such a way that you would be striving to get top quartile pricing when you exit, as opposed to bottom quartile pricing when you decide to exit. Okay, next slide, please. So if I had to just generalize this, and I think we have to generalize it today because each of you have a unique company with unique metrics, unique secret sauce, unique financials, etc. But if I say basically, what do buyers look for? And we, today I've had 2, I got 1 more, obviously meetings with buyers. What are they looking for? Well, they're always looking for good people. Good people means subject matter expertise, good management skills, good development skills. But if I had to say what's the most important, it's sector subject matter skills. You can always hire another .NET developer, architect. It's hard to get people that really understand the supply chain sector, the wireless sector, the application development sector, etc. Secondly, good clients. Everybody wants to buy a good client list. Preferably, they would like clients that match with their clients. So if they're an SMB oriented buyer, they would like your clients to be SMBs. Generally speaking, though, there is a bias towards having large enterprise clients versus consumer clients, because consumers obviously are more flighty. And they're looking for good revenue from these clients. So it's always better to be able to say my client is, and everybody knows the name. I've been a client for 7 years, and by the way, they also pay me, X number of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for my cloud technology. Third pillar to the stool, if you will, is good technology. SaaS cloud is no longer a nice to have, a trend. It's mainstream. We have buyers who say, don't bring me a small cell side if it isn't cloud enabled. We don't want to hear the promise of cloud enablement, which, by the way, I hear a lot, because we know it's going to be over budget, overpriced, take too long, et cetera, et cetera. And they also like competitive barriers to entry with your technology offering. So the secret sauce or something that's different, not just what everybody else has. Good financials. Now this depends. I mean, good financials are also very important, but they're less important if it's a very large buyer buying you strictly for the promise of tomorrow. Like I think, didn't Google buy a company called Nest for $1.2 billion or some ridiculous? Well, obviously financials. I don't think Nest had any financials. So financials do matter, though, and pick a number. I'd say transactions under $100 million. They want to see a proven track record of growth without any valleys, the top and bottom line. I'd say since 2008, 2009, a meltdown, EBITDA is much more important than it used to be. I have my buy-side clients who just basically say if they're not doing $500,000 EBITDA, we don't even want to talk to them. So EBITDA, year-to-year revenue growth, very important. And recurring revenue is gold. I do talk to prospects and buyers, et cetera, who have 70%. Talked to one this morning, 55% recurring revenue. Talked to one a couple of weeks ago, 70% recurring revenue. Recurring revenue is gold. So those are the things in general that those are the four legs to what buyers want, what they're looking for. If you've got good answers to all of these, which again the Preston Willis system takes you through this and gives you a red, green, yellow light on all of these areas plus a whole bunch more, you're going to appeal more to buyers. Okay, next slide. So if we just took current software valuations, and I can see by the list here we've got companies at 30 million, 5 million, etc. But if we just keep it simple and say $1 million, multiple of revenue, I say to all my clients starting out of the gate, you think 1.5 times revenue just as a starting point, That assumes you're okay and your revenue is okay, your EBITDA is okay, your technology is okay, your people are okay, you're okay. Now, the price goes up if you've got strong value enhancers. So what are some examples of the strong value enhancers? Well, if you're cloud enabled with high recurring revenue, that's an obvious one. If you've got some secret sauce in a hot space, what's a hot space? Security continues to be hot. Wireless continues to be hot. And it just doesn't mean those two sectors. It means wireless enablement of your app, for example. So there's certain sectors that are hotter than others, like EDI, supply chain, warehouse management are kind of exhausted. And it's going to be...
Hello, Bob? Oh,
Hello?
yeah. You there, Bob?
Can you hear me, Glenn?
Yeah, I can hear you now, yes.
Okay, good. Sorry, did I
You dropped off there for a second.
Oh, okay. Where did I drop off? Do you know what?
Talking about strong value enhancers.
Okay, strong value enhancers. So let me just quickly repeat that. So there's many, but a couple of key ones are cloud enablement, recurring revenue, cross-industry, perhaps presence, like we do business in 7 major countries, et cetera, as opposed to just USA, things like that. Value detractors are something that, let me just see your next slide.
Okay. No.
Yeah. Okay. So value detractors are some things that, for example, if you've had flat revenue, if you've had a drop in EBITDA or maybe a no EBITDA year, if you've got yesterday's technology, a license-based technology that, on different technology, like I talk to people who are based on a rather old 4GL. I still hear Visual Basic. Things like that tend to take your value down. So each industry is unique, each situation that you've got is unique, your sector is unique, but these are just some very general things. And this is a good segue into Preston Willis Group core value offering, because in effect it takes your software sector with dozens and dozens and dozens of key metrics and gives you a measurement against your peers in such a way that you can be planning and working forward for a top quartile exit price. Okay, and I'll be around to answer questions as they come in or at the end of the presentation. Okay. So I'm going to turn it over to Glenn.
Thanks, Bob. I'll carry on. Just a quick minute on Preston Willis Group. We work with technology companies almost exclusively, and we work on the 4 different stages of a company, right from startup through to late stage and exits. And today we're focusing on the exits, but we also do market entry work for companies moving in or out of North America. We do sales and marketing plans for companies who are trying to scale or build revenue or release products. But today we're talking about positioning your company for liquidity and increasing the value. We look at maximizing your business value by unlocking the hidden issues that everybody has in their business, paying attention to the value as the ability of your business to generate revenue and profits into the future. It's not just about doing a multiple of the trailing 12 months revenue and EBITDA. The real value in your business is being able to accurately predict its ability to generate revenue and profits in the future. And it doesn't matter whether you're looking at selling your business now, or whether you're looking at buying another business, building your business up, looking at raising some money. The better your company runs, the more efficiently it runs, the higher the valuation, the better you're going to be in any of these activities as you go forward. So it's not just about your exit strategy, it's also about the value as you build your business. We can determine the value and help you improve it by focusing on the 18 key drivers to business valuation. It's a 90-minute exercise that we go through, and we calculate the transferable enterprise value of your business against the optimum value and determine what the value gap is. We then create a roadmap to improve the value and indicate where the red flags are, which are issues that must be fixed in order to move ahead at all. The 18 drivers for enterprise value that we look at are split between internal and external. So there are things that are totally within your control, within your company, and then there are the external pressures, the external factors that you have to deal with. So we break down the business into these 18 value drivers, and using a software product with some algorithms built in, we measure your business against these value drivers. It's a very easy system to use. If we take a look at one example, the barriers to entry, which is the little padlock icon, you can see the first question there is answered using one of 5 multiple choice answers. So you can go through this process very quickly, and you go through this kind of questioning at the first level for each of the 18 value drivers. The next level you drill down a little deeper, and in the third level you actually perform tasks to improve the value and put the documentation into the system. The way it works is we take your business sector and we look at what a normalized valuation would be in your sector, and we're talking to technology people, so we would look at what the normal multiple of EBITDA or revenue might be for a software company that's comparable to your business. We then go through the core value process, measuring, answering the 18 questions, and creating a rating for your company, which is operational driver rating and a market driver rating and an average to give you an overall score. And using that, we calculate the enterprise value that you have, and we measure that against the potential value that you could have and show you what the value gap is. This is an example of the dashboard. So you can see this particular company we have up here is a manufacturing company. It's identified in the far left box with annual revenue of $1 million, an enterprise value of almost 7, but a potential value of 10. So we determine there that there's a $3 million value gap, and that's what we're trying to work on. The bottom center box indicates where the value gaps are, and it identifies them by various drivers and shows you what value is associated with each of those drivers. So if you deal with those issues, you can, for instance, in the sales and marketing value gap, you can pick up $400,000 in missed valuation. Again, along the bottom on the far right are the red flags, and these are areas that are identified as being critical to improving your value and issues that must be addressed. Regardless of what else you do, you must fix these things. And on the far left is a little progress report that indicates the status of your business as you've gone through the core value system, answered questions, made corrections, shows where you've improved, and sometimes where you have lost value. So this is a good snapshot of what your company looks like based on the algorithms within the software. I should say that the value that we calculate is not a value that you would necessarily use to for anything like buying a partners out or anything that's where you need a valuator. What this does is give you a good feel, and it's very close, but it's not the same as you would get if you did a proper valuation. But this is a working document that allows you to get your business in tip-top shape before you call the valuator in, so that you get the best possible valuation. And this is again another example of things we've been talking about. It just drives it down a little farther. You can see the market drivers and operational drivers in detail, and the scores and the value associated with them. This is the task list. Again, you can take a look at each of the value drivers, where the value is, and I'll show you this in a little more detail in a few minutes, but you can rank these by value driver. You can rank them by low expense to fix to high expense. You can rank them by the bang for the buck. What do I do to get the most impact in the shortest possible time? And then within those, you can break those down into further tasks. This is an example of that. This is the financial driver, the tangible assets driver. If you click on that, it opens up a box. It shows you what the issue is, shows you what the value gap is, and you can create to-dos around this to either hand off to other staff in the company to work on, or to keep track of yourself. In essence, you end up with a workflow and a task list to fix the issues that have been identified. This particular part of the system is a vault. It's an online cloud-based storage area, so that as you fix a problem or correct a task, you can store the documentation within the system, so that by the time you're finished using the core value product, you have tuned up your company probably as well as you possibly can, and you have created the documentation to support what you've done, so that if you are in a position where you're looking to sell the business, or you're looking to bring a partner in, or you're looking to raise money, everything about your business is in one place, and it's all documented. It's very easy then for people that are in the M&A business, like Wavepoint, to come to you and say, show me your documentation. It's all done and you're ready to go. I'm just going to click on this, and it just takes a second, but we have just added a new feature to the system, which is very interesting. It's called the Planning tab, and if we use the Planning tab, it allows us to do some simulations. So this is a made-up company. It's in my sandbox that I play with, and you can see on the left that the revenue is about 6.6 million and the value's 5 million, and it's got a relatively low core value rating of 68 that grows up to 83 over 5 years. If they did nothing, the value over the 5 years is going to go from 5 million to 5.8 million. But we can go in and we can change some of the assumptions. You can see that the big problem here is they have almost flat growth. So if we were to take them up to say a nice growth clip of almost 20%, and maybe take them up to an EBITDA of 10, and run a simulation, we can see that rather than having a value of 5.8 million in 5 years, the value goes up to 11 million and the revenue goes up to 12. So in terms of looking at what you can do with your business to have an impact, you can use a simulation tool to focus where you want to put your activity. The other thing I'll show you while I have this up is the task list. Again, as I said, you can rank them just by driver name, or you can rank them by the bang for the buck, which shows you that you're going to pick up $62,000 in value gap out of market growth fast and less expensively than the marketing communication one, and you can drive right down to the ones that are going to be hardest to deal with, maybe take more time and cost more money. So you can then sort your tasks whichever way you want to go after them. You don't have to start at the beginning of the system and go through it in sequence. You can jump around, and we find that most clients do, that they are more comfortable with some parts of their business than the other, and so they will focus on the things they're most comfortable with, and then may have to call in some extra help to deal with some of the issues that come up afterwards. But this is an example of the table of contents within the workbook, the kinds of things you could go through to determine your valuation. And again, the vault area, each one of these drivers has a section in the vault where you can store the documentation that relates to that particular driver. You can go back and alter the fundamentals as you make improvements. If you have a new forecast and you look at your numbers and they're going to be different by the end of the year, you can go in and change the current situation, and it'll be reflected in the valuation. And again, this is the dashboard where you see most of the reports. You can see on this particular one on the bottom left, the enterprise value has dropped as a result of some activities that they have taken. Again, this is a workbook example that I use when I'm talking to people about some of the things they could do with their company. So we are prepared and very happy to discuss your business and the value of your business with you. We have an offer where we would at no charge sign you up to use the first phase of the software, which is called the Engage phase, which allows you to go through the 18 value drivers at a high level and get some sense of your value gap. We would then discuss that with you and give you 1 hour of our time to go through the answers and interpret them based on our experiences. If you then want to carry on, we can sign you up to the rest of the system, and you can use that on your own for a year. It's a 1-year license, or you can use it in conjunction with some of our help and consulting, depending on what it is you're trying to do, how fast you're trying to do it, and what kind of help you might need. So I'm going to unmute everyone now, and if you have any questions, please ask them. You can ask them openly, or if you'd rather ask a private question, you can type it in the chat box and we'll respond.
Muted.
So everyone's unmuted. Any questions?
I have two questions. The first was you made the comment earlier about your evaluation being a formal one. Maybe you could explain a little bit.
I'm getting a lot of feedback. I'm going to mute Bob McBean because he was a problem before. Is that better?
Yes.
No feedback. I'm sorry. Would you ask the question again, please?
Sure. The first question was you had made a comment earlier about the fact that the valuation estimate made from this software product was different than one, and not to rely on it for other purposes and to get a formal valuation. Maybe you could articulate kind of what's the difference.
In everything that has been tested over many years, the process that we have now reflected in the software was a process that was developed at MIT over about 15 years, and they found when they tested the valuations, they were generally within 5 to 7%, but it can't be interpreted as a formal valuation because we're not valuators and the software is not a valuator. So in order to get a formal legal valuation, you'd have to go to a certified valuator. We can get you close and we can get you in the right direction, but we can't give you the output from this system and say that this is a legal valuation.
I see. Okay.
Glenn, I think one of the important points is what you're looking for with this software is the gap. it's not the absolute value, it's really the gap that you're looking for.
Okay.
Yes.
And my second question was relative to your offer. Is that process that you would essentially give access to a company to, on their own, answer all the questions, and then the 1 hour evaluation basically is to try to talk through what all that means? Is that kind of the process?
Yeah, the process would be, when the material was sent out to you in the next few days, there'll be a link that you can connect to, and we will give you access to the first phase of the software. You can go through and answer the 18 questions on your own. When you've done that, you send us an email, and we'll set up a call. We'll go through the answers with you and give you our assessment of the valuation, the valuation gap that you got, and the answer that you gave. And if you need more help from us, that's great. And if you don't, and you want to carry on and drill down to the next 2 levels of the software, we can connect you with just the software license for the year, and you can do that and come back to us later if you wish.
Okay. So when you say 18 questions, it's indeed 18 questions as opposed to 18 areas, or is it a set 18 areas and there's a bunch of questions in each area?
There's 18 areas and there's a bunch of questions in each area. But the first level is just 1 question in each area. The second is in total 70 questions, and when you finish the whole thing, you've gone through about 170 questions.
I see. Okay. All right. Great. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, this is Tom Burke. I had one question.
Okay, Tom.
Do you see this being used mostly just for kind of the company internally to figure out what it should do better to improve its company before it goes out trying to find a buyer or investor or whatever it may be? Or could you see this software actually being used like shared with a potential acquirer, for example, when you talk about like what some of the strategic value might be in the company from combining, and how to think about valuing the company for that particular acquirer?
I think you could use it both ways. I have a client that's using the software now, and they're using it to get their company as tuned up as they possibly can, because they have a strategic partner in mind, and they're going to share this information with that strategic partner, but they want to get as far along the path as they possibly can before they share it. And then their plan would be to put the strategic partner through the same exercise to see what the relative valuations might be. So you can share it, you can use it on your own. It would depend, in my view, on what the relationship is with your potential strategic partner, how close you are, or how far away you are.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
This is great. I appreciate the overview and look forward to receiving some more information.
Okay, great. Well, we'll send out the handouts, the presentation, and the invitations to test the software out in the next couple of days, and be happy to talk to you if you want to respond to us.
Is Core Value your PWG product, or is that some?
No, it's we license it from a company out of New England, who actually developed the product, and the principals in that company came out of MIT and have been working for about 20 years in the M&A sector.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.